Hello and welcome to week 3 of my pre-production for my new podcast, The Value Exchange, and week 13 of me saying stuff during lockdown. Again, it may not seem much to you, but to me, 13 weeks of consistency of something that I'd never done before, especially under my own auspices and my own direction and production. I'm kind of really proud of how far that I have come, and really looking forward to continuing working at my craft and getting better at making these videos. Today I am using a brief window I have while my wife and daughter have gone out to the park, but I think it's also worth mentioning for the record, for myself, for the video, that this week we've also announced publicly as a family that we will be expecting a new member of our family. And so where we currently have one child, one daughter, we have another one in the wing. So considering this is a week by week basis, and we are now 16 weeks in, I think it will be invariably video 40 or there or thereabouts when I'll be able to introduce the latest member of our family into the fold. So time of celebration for me, for us as a family, here in the spring equinox, the Easter season, as known for Christians and others, but in essence a celebration of new life, of virility, of fertility, and very happy to be in the slipstream of that. So this week I've been, again, just kind of pondering more. From a framework perspective, I've now put together a couple of documents with regards to how I want to engage people to become involved with the conversations that we're going to be having as part of the values exchange. I've also been putting together disclaimers, all of the kind of behind the scenes stuff that you would expect from somebody who is looking to make content which they hope to travel far and wide. But those things are really like by the by. You can kind of go online, you can research, you can kind of like ask the collective hive mind on social media and come up with the answers, which have in essence been aggregated by a number of people who have done similar over however long that they've been podcasting or creating this kind of content for now. Most important, really, I think for anybody who is setting out on these journeys, and something that Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, as people may better know him on his social media and through his investment and business empire and portfolio, but he's someone who definitely advocates for being your true self. What I would say, he advocates something that I've kind of billed as business Buddhism, which is that concept that suffering is what you make of it. Some people see the beating down or the stresses and strains of climbing the mountain as that is the grueling part, whereas other people see that as the rewarding part, because you have been in essence chiseled into your best shape as you progress up that mountain, whereas other people see it as the hard work that gets them there. So ultimately it's always about perspective. The reason why I mention that is because perspective is ultimately what any content should come down to. What it is that you're saying, what means the most to you, what kind of gets you out of bed every single morning, what kind of gives you purpose, which kind of, again, ultimately drives back to that conversation around values, because it's the values that we have that, in essence, inspire us to do the things that we choose to do. And so, Gary, talking as if I know him personally. I've met once, but it was only in passing. But anyway, it's not really of any relevance here. The point being is that when you are talking about things that matter to you, when you're having conversations with people, or even writing, making, creating, whatever it is you're doing, but you're doing it in a lane of things that matter to you, what you find is that the hurdles, the obstacles, as challenging as they are ultimately just challenges rather than barriers to entry or barriers to progress. For me personally, making these videos, as I've just said, has proven to be more challenging than I thought it was going to be, especially the the nature of how I'm doing the stream of consciousness without kind of editing, but just kind of having a week's worth of rumination of thoughts, which maybe a day or two before making the video I will put down as a couple of bullet points in my notes, and I will just kind of keep on looking at and ruminating, thinking, and then yeah, it kind of gets to infuse in my mind for 24, 48 hours, and then I in essence serve it up here. So I mean, this in itself has been a learning curve, but it was more the conversation, or the continued conversation, about what those values are that we have, and how our values actually impact on the world around us, and whether or not a more value-based system rather than, or not rather than, it's because there's a difference between value-based and value-driven. In the fact that value-based is works on the premise that the value is already inherent, whereas value-driven is us kind of working towards finding where that value is. And so, I mean, that in itself is an interesting question, something that I will be bringing up with guests in conversations. But it has had me really thinking this week about what would it mean if we lived in a value-based system, rather than having just a couple or a handful of value-based individuals striving towards that kind of value base. Because what I recognize is that the systems that we have set up, especially like, you know, our financial systems, which don't necessarily reward work, they reward hoarding, they reward compounding, which in some instances can be done by somebody making astute decisions that kind of get them there. But in a lot of cases, how our world has been set up to work kind of robs people of agency and value, because those who started in first position or started near the front, in essence, they never fall away from being at the front, because there is no expectation of you and yourself to achieve, to develop wealth, to develop growth, productivity that brings use, that brings life, that brings utility to other people. You can in fact just be handed a lump sum, and that lump sum can then just keep on compounding and compounding without you ever needing to do anything. But the nature also of this system, how it works, is that the resources that are required for the life of everybody, like, you know, there is enough resource on this planet for all of the life that is here, and that includes, like, you know, the 8+ billion humans, but also the 60 to 100 billion animals which currently are domesticated animals for human use and consumption, whole other conversation. But then also the small like slice of the pie which are now left as like the wild animals and, like, you know, wild ecosystems, which now actually is less than 2 to 3% of our world. I mean, again, something else that we could talk about in another week. Quite sad. But I think the point being made there is that there is enough resource, and it's just the fact that how the perspective of how we see things. We feed enough food to those animals that are domesticated ultimately for human consumption and use than could feed the human population of our world 4 or 5 times over. I know, for example, here in the UK, where I'm based and where I'm making this content, that in any given year, that of all of the food that we produce, that we actually dispose of over 40% of it as waste. And bread in particular, you know, a staple for a lot of people all around the world. We waste over 50% of the bread that we bake here in the UK, which, when you just think of these numbers, I mean, this is really depressing, really, for me, just knowing that, like, you know, that the resources are there, but we're just not, like, you know, deploying them right. And the reason why is because our system is not value-based, or not values as in the values that we have, but value as in the commodified meaning of value. How can we break things down to like incremental price points so that we can measure them up against each other, against other things? And this all sits into this man-made natural order of things, where we've put ourselves at the top of that pyramid and then allowed everything else beneath us to become commodified. Now, these are the things that I hope to be able to drive toward in some of these value-driven conversations. And hopefully by having conversations with people around what drives their value, we can bit by bit get to a place where we build systems that are value-based, so that our drive no longer has to take us there. The systems that hold us within them naturally push us towards our better selves. They don't push us towards greed, individualism, and hoarding. They push us towards open source, towards sharing, towards generosity, towards openness. Now, from where we are, it is a long, it's more than long, it is a rocky road where the light at the end of said road or tunnel may not even be in sight at the moment. But I think it is incumbent on us to not allow that to be something that makes us think that it can't be done. It can be done, and it will be done. And I very much hope that what I'm going to be able to do, my small piece in this greater puzzle, in my work that I'm going to be doing now, especially as an ambassador for Seeds with this podcast and other content I'll be creating and producing for Seeds and with Seeds, will push towards everybody understanding that there can be a better world, that if we are to grasp the idea of conscious currency, the idea of exchange being an asset in itself rather than something that we can hold on to, that we will be able to find our way, that we will be able to eradicate some of the old narratives which have become norms to us, and paint a vision of a new and better world. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for me for this week. Again, I just thank everybody for sticking with me with this, and I would like to say that things are kind of coming together now, starting to look really good. What I probably am going to do as well is create a page on my existing JBrave website, where I can put down some of the details of what's going on here, and invariably it will be where I have a page corresponding to the podcast. Again, these are some of those technical things I haven't necessarily fully smoothed out yet, still unsure, but the best thing for me anyway is that the content is becoming clearer and clearer in my mind, that conversations that I've been having with people around me have been more and more rewarding, or feeling more and more as if they're coming to a place where I am getting from those conversations what I'd long hoped to get from conversations with people. And that isn't small talk, it is value, and value that we can exchange. So thank you again. Please, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hit that bell notification for notifications, when more of my videos are coming out. As I said, still learning the ropes here, but all of your support means everything. So thank you from me. Thank you from Violet, and enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. Bye.